Das from Chicago. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Arvind Prabhuji, Dandavas Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandava Pranam. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to assembled devotees. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavas Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, all glories to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. My humble obeisances to you and all the devotees. This is Krishna Kumari Devidasi.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Kumari Mataji, Dandavas Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Vinita Gandharvika Devidasi from Texas. Hare Krishna, nice background, Mataji, Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna, Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, Dandavas Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Shri Prabhupada. This is Preeti Vilasini Devidasi from California. Happy to see you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Preeti Vilasini Mataji, Dandavas Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to the assembled devotees. This is Anita Ramya from Sharjah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandavas Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Varsha from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Varsha Mataji, Dandavas Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji. My Dandavat Pranam to you and to all the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. All glories to assembled devotees. This is Pooja Arora from Haridwar.
Hare Krishna, Pooja Mataji, Dandavas Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Is anybody else would like to introduce themselves?
Hare Krishna, Arti Vardhana Mataji. Dandavat Pranam to you and all Vaishnavas. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki Jai Vrinda.
Hare Krishna, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, Dandavas Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Sri Radha Gopinath ki Jai.
Hare Krishna, Vardhana Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. This is Kavita from Delaware.
Hare Krishna, Kavita Mataji, Dandavas Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. This is Shama Gauri Devidasi from Charlotte.
Hare Krishna, Sham Gauri Mataji, Dandavas Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I don't.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Srila Gurudev. All glories to the assembled devotees. This is Shiva Mani from Qatar. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Shomani Mataji, Dandavats Pranam. Please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining the call. Hare Krishna. Welcoming all of you to the Bhakti Sangha conference call today. We are very fortunate to have His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji. Prabhuji is going to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam 6th canto, chapter 1, verse number 55. Before going to the class, I will hand over the call to Sureshwar Sham Prabhuji to give brief introduction of Haridas Varya Prabhuji. Prabhuji, please take over the call.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. So here is a brief introduction about Prabhuji. His Grace Haridas Varya Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Indradumna Swami Maharaj, and Prabhuji is an international speaker. Prabhuji has been associated with ISKCON for last 24 years. He has a deep penchant in rendering lectures from Vaishnava Vedic texts. He is a public speaker on various topics of Sanatana Dharma through the lens of disciplic section of Brahma Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. He has delivered his lectures in English, Hindi, Tamil, and Malayalam across Dubai, Australia, USA, and India. He speaks extensively on Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Valmiki, Ramayana, and other Gaudiya literatures. Prabhuji holds a graduate degree in electronics and communication and an MBA from Symbiosis. Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Back to you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Welcome back, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for giving your valuable time and association to us this morning and enlightening on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll hand over the call to you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. First and foremost, I want to check if my voice is audible.
Yes, Prabhuji, it's very clear.
Okay, clear, right? Okay, thank
Yes,
you very much. First and foremost, I would like to pay my humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis and giving me an opportunity to speak here. There is a little bit of connection issues. That's why you see my name appearing twice on the chat. One is on the video, but I am connected through my phone so that your voice is at least clear. So pardon me for that, but very, very happy to be part of the Bhakti Sangha Japa group, where we are discussing about Srimad Bhagavatam, and in that we are specifically discussing about Ajamila's pastime. It is a very apt pastime for the people of Kali Yuga, and hence it's one of the most nectarian kathas in Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm more than fortunate for giving me, I feel myself as fortunate to be associated with all the leaders of Bhakti Sangha Japa Group who have told me to speak on today's topic, which is 6.1.55. So we will read the shloka after we do the Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantika. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yudapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sham Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pradhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pratapami Hari Priye Namaom Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadaram Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripatamaham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. So today we will be discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, the Granth Raj, the Amala Puran, Canto number 6, chapter number 1, text number 55. So let us read the shloka. Esha prakriti sangena purushasya viparatya asisa eva nachirad isha sangat viliyate. Translation: since the living entity is associated with material nature, he is in an awkward position. But if in the human form of life, he is taught how to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotee, this position can be overcome. It's a very powerful statement. Since the living entity is associated with material nature, he is in an awkward position. But if in the human form of life, he is taught how to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotee, this position can be overcome. A very small purport, so let's read the purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The word Prakriti means material nature, and Purusha may also refer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If one wants to continue his association with Prakriti, the female energy of Krishna, and be separated from Krishna by the illusion that he is able to enjoy Prakriti, he must continue in his conditional life. If he changes his consciousness, however, and associates with the Supreme, original person, Purusham Shashvatam, or with his associates, he can get out of the entanglement of material nature. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Janma Karma Chame Divyam, Evam Yoveti Tattvataha. One must simply understand the Supreme Person, Krishna, in terms of his form, name, activities, and pastimes. This will keep one always in the association of Krishna. Tektva deham punar janma naiti maameti so Arjuna. Thus, after giving up his gross material body, one accepts not another gross body, but a spiritual body in which to return home back to Godhead. Thus, one ends the tribulation caused by his association with the material energy. In summary, the living entity is an eternal servant of God, but he comes to the material world and is bound by material conditions because of his desire to lord it over matter. Liberation means giving up this false consciousness and reviving one's original service to the Lord. This return to one's original life is called mukti, as confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam, Muktir hitan vayat yatha rupam swarupena vyavasthitihi. So translation, since the living entity is associated with the material nature, he is in an awkward position. But if the human form of life, he is taught how to associate with the Supreme Personality of Godhead or his devotee, this position can be overcome. So this is a very wonderful verse and a string of verses where instructions are being said and the facts of Krishna consciousness is being laid out in a very easy fashion. In fact, in the next verses, you will see how to act on this verse. Whereas in this verse, it is being mentioned that naturally the jiva, the spirit soul, in this material world is associated with material nature or prakriti. And we all know that by Srila Prabhupada's small books, and Srila Prabhupada's small books are very foundational in nature. In fact, we should always go back and read these small books, Krishna, the reservoir of all pleasure, teachings of Prahlad Maharaj, introduction to Bhagavad Gita, matchless gift, life comes from life. These wonderful small books, also Prabhupada has put a lot of effort. And in fact, he has written gems in his purports and commentaries in those books. So time and time again, in those books, we get to know who is Purusha, who is Prakriti. Purusha is generally the enjoyer, and Prakriti is the enjoyed, E-D, E-N-G-J-O-Y-E-D, enjoyed. Purusha means the person who enjoys. Of course, here also, in the purport, he's saying the Supreme Purusha is none other than Krishna. So what Srila Prabhupada is intending to say, and what Shukdev Goswami is also saying in the Srimad Bhagavatam, is it that when we try to enjoy the material nature, then we have to be bound with these conditions of Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadi, repeated birth and death. When we think we are the persons who are going to enjoy, then we are bound in this material. And that is not a normal position. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the translation that it is an awkward position. Awkward position means not comfortable position. But if the human form of life, and how can you turn this awkward position into a fortunate position or a great position by which we can be conducive to gain happiness, blissful, joyful state? When we recognize that the real Purusha, the Parama Purusha, is none other than Krishna. And we are all entities who are there for his pleasure. So the jivas are generally called as the tatastha shakti. They are the marginal energy. So they can have either associate with the material world and be illusioned by the Maya, or they can turn their consciousness towards the devotees or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they can gain the spiritual world. So this is what is being mentioned. And this verse talks about how one can transcend from the material world to the spiritual world. So in fact, this is a very important question. Everybody in this world has this question: why am I suffering? And how can I get happiness? Millions and millions of books are being written on this subject matter. Some people say you should gain more friends, you will get happiness. I was once hearing Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, he was mentioning about how this book of how to win friends and influence people, it is so famous. And it was written in 1930s. And why? Because people want to be happy. And they think that by influencing and having friends, they remain happy. But it is just on the material plane. So people are always asking this question: how can I be happy? And here Srimad Bhagavatam is telling us, if we are trying to find ourselves happiness in this world, then we are doing a great mistake, because that is an awkward position. The nameplate of this house in which we are living, the nameplate of it, the placard which stands outside this house is Dukkhalayam Ashashvat. That's the placard. Anybody who knocks on the door should read that I am entering the house called as Dukkha Alayam. It is the place of miseries. Once in 2011, when I was in Bombay, I was traveling in the local train. Incidentally, that was the day when the World Cup finals was going on between India and I believe Sri Lanka, the cricket match. And India is a cricket loving, crazy nation. So in the train, I was mentioning to my fellow passengers that how this world is full of Dukkhalayam Ashashvatam, and this world is full of miseries. There is only unhappiness. And at that time, the captain of Indian cricket team, MS Dhoni, hit a sixer, and the whole of India was rejoicing that we won the World Cup. And this person was saying, see, look at the joy of 1.7 billion people. They're happy. They're dancing on the streets. They don't understand. They might not have clothing and shelter, but they are on the streets for one sixer, which was hit by MS Dhoni, and we have won the World Cup. And here you are, my dear boy, you are saying that this whole world is unhappiness. How is it? Can't you see it in front of your eyes? People are dancing in the aisles. People are dancing on the streets, and this is just Bombay, but I'm very sure all over India, people might be celebrating this victory. So this World Cup is none other than happiness. So I don't believe what you say. So immediately I had to remind him. I asked him, my dear sir, how many teams participated in the World Cup? He said around 11 to 12 teams participated. I said, yes. And how many are rejoicing right now? He said, one team. What about the others? The other 11 are in Dukkhalayam. They are in misery that they have lost. So if you do the comparison between who is happy and who is sad, the majority are in sadness. So that is what the Shastras are mentioning. We might find flickering happiness. We might find flickering moments of pleasure, but they are not permanent. And since we are entities who are seeking for permanent happiness, it is an awkward position. Because we want permanent happiness and we are not getting it. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he once mentioned when we were taking Ganga Snan during the Bhishma Panchak days. It is coming now in Kartik. The last 5 days, Maharaj, irrespective of his health, every day is a source of inspiration. He goes and takes the bath in Ganges. And when he takes the bath in Ganges, in one of the bathing activities, when he was performing, he started saying, hubu-dubu, hubu-dubu, hubu-dubu. And everybody was asking, what is this? Maharaj, what is this hubu-dubu? And he started laughing and he said, this is how we are. Maya, it actually catches our shikha and holds us close. And there is a volume of water in front of us. And it pushes our head down. And what happens when we are pushed, our head is pushed into a bucket of water or into a tub of water. And what happens? We are gasping for air. And what do? The bubbles come out and we are gasping, trying to breathe underwater, trying to get a little bit of pleasure to live, to get that oxygen. And 1 second, Maya just lifts us, our head. How would we take a breath? How would we take our breath? We would soak in the entire oxygen that's available for us, because the next second we have been pushed back again. So this is what he was saying. He was mentioning that the 1 second of breath that we get when our head is above water and we are taking the whole of oxygen, that is none other than happiness. And it lasts only for a flickering second. Because the next minute, it's distress. We are going inside the water. So this is called as the hubu-dubu logic. In fact, in one of the kirtans or bhajans also, this is mentioned. Mayera hubu-dubu. Very beautiful bhajans written by our Vaishnavacharyas. So it's an awkward position because we are associated with material nature. However, here Srila Prabhupada, in the purport, he mentions a very beautiful point. He mentions about liberation, which is to mean to live or give up this false consciousness. The false consciousness that we are this Purusha who is supposed to enjoy this material world. This we have to live it away. This we have to give it up. And then one has to return back home, back to Godhead. This is called as mukti, or being free or liberated. And this is called as liberation. So my one question is to all the devotees who are here, to whom liberation is given by the Lord? What are the conditions one has to meet to get liberation? Anybody would like to volunteer? What are the conditions that one has to meet to get liberated?
Haribol Prabhuji.
Anybody? Yes, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. Yes.
Prabhuji. I think in the 5th canto, Surusabdev Maharaj says that Pritir Nayavan Mayi Vasudeve Muchyata muchyata deh yogena tavat. So unless we develop priti for Vasudeva, Bhavan, Sri Krishna through Srila Prabhupada's mercy or any pure devotee, we cannot get out of this, dehatma buddhi. So that's the first and foremost point. If one wants to get muktir hitvanyatha rupam swarupena vyavasthiti. So that's one requirement, I think, is a primary one. Very well.
In fact, Prabhu, you answered it right on the nail. And there is also two answers out here. One is Raj Prabhu mentioned surrendering, and the other is desire. Both Prahladananda Prabhu said one has to surrender, and also he mentioned one has to develop this desire. One has to develop this desire to get liberated. Of course, our philosophy is not liberation. Our philosophy is Krishna Prem. That is the highest philosophy. But still, for this subject matter of this verse, we will talk about liberation because Srila Prabhupada presents it in that way. So how to get liberated? In every yuga, there is a process. So what is the process for Satya Yuga? What is the process for Satya Yuga for liberation?
Penance, doing penance.
Meditation.
Penance, meditation, austerities, penance. And that is because people used to live for 60,000, 70,000 years. They used to live very long years. And when this became Treta Yuga, what was the mode of achieving liberation? What was the activity?
Homas,
sacrifices, yajnas, swaha. One had to collect a lot of ingredients like havishya, spices, ghee, flowers, incense, dhupa, sticks. All these had to be collected, and chanting of extensive mantras for different yajnas had to be performed. And this had to be performed for many years. Of course, the age of the devotees or general public in Treta Yuga was smaller than Satya Yuga, and they were told to do yajnas. And when it became Dwapara, what was the mode?
Idol worship.
Deity worship. So deities had to be worshipped. Archana was the Paddhati. So today also we do Archana. Today also we do deity worship. But there is a difference. So the difference between what was the deity worship in Dwapara Yuga was that, of course, we are trying to imbibe that philosophy here. ISKCON and Srila Prabhupada established it. But ideally, it was mentioned that one should do deity worship not for getting something from the Lord, with a pure intention, with bhakti as a motive, with devotional service as a motive, and to please the Lord. That was being mentioned for the age of Dwapara. And in Kali Yuga, the most easiest way is chanting and Sankirtana. So these are the four different Yuga Dharmas which are being mentioned. And yes, as Suresha Prabhu is mentioning here, Titeya dhyayato Vishnum Tretayam yajato makhe Dwapare paricharyayam kalau tat Harikirtanat. Harikirtanat, one has to do Nam Sankirtan. And that is there. But if you look at the common theme between Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, everybody wants to get liberated. So the liberation, the mukti, or to leave this material world, that is common. Things are changing in the means. The means are getting changed. In Satya, it was penance, meditation, to meditate upon the Lord. In Treta, it is yajna. Dwapara, it is archana. And in Kala, it's Sankirtan. So then, one has always this question. Why is it so that different processes And comparatively of all these 4 processes, one has to meditate for 1,000 years. One had to do extensive homa for 60 years, 70 years. One has to do archana and deity worship for many, many years, versus one has to chant 16 rounds. When you compare all of these, which is the easiest? How many of you, if I say chanting is the easiest? The most easiest, correct. How many of you, if I say everybody should join this Bhakti Sangha Japa group for 1 more hour of chanting, and one has to meditate, and one has to sit, and 1 more hour they have to chant? So people will say, Prabhuji, that is very difficult. But if I say all of us have to meet and we have to arrange the hall for Janmashtami festival, everybody will come, not 1 hour, 2 hours before. Why? Because physical activity is a little bit more easier than mental activity. To focus our mind on one activity is far, far, far more difficult than to focus on the physical activity. What to speak of old age when both of the things are not in our control? That is why the old age is considered as one of the miseries. Mentally, we are not on control, and physically also we are not in control. So it's very difficult. So that's why we train ourselves. So this is very important to understand. And secondly, we also try to understand it in a different way. Why did the Lord keep the easiest for Kali Yuga? It's just like the tax system. You know, the tax system, the income tax. If you earn a certain amount of money, you have to pay a certain amount of tax, certain percentage of tax. Like in the Indian system, if you are earning around, say, 5 lakh rupees, there is no tax. You don't have to pay a tax. But if your income reaches around 10 lakh rupees, then you pay 10% of it as tax. But if it is 20, you pay 20%. If it is more, 50, 60, quite significant, you pay 30% tax. So the tax increases as and when the person is able to pay. So similarly, in Satyuga, so many years of penance is given because they are capable of doing that. They are taxed higher for their time. They are capable of doing that. And so the Kali Yuga are like the no tax bracket. We don't have any time and we are mentally taxed every day. So for us, it is very difficult to perform even the great yajnas, or even to perform the great tapa, or to engage in detailed deity worship. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this beautiful process of Nam Sankirtan. Once in the Vishnu Puran, there is a very beautiful story. And what is that story? There were sages who all had a question in their mind. They had a question that who is the most qualified, or in other words, if not the word qualified, if I have to say, who is the sadhu, or who is the best? Who is the best?
Hare Krishna.
All the yugas. Question. The best yuga. That's their question. Same question was between man and woman. Can you hear me? Hare Krishna.
It is breaking, Prabhu.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, but it is breaking, Prabhu.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Prabhu. Now we can hear you.
Okay. Apologies for that. There was a flux of the Wi-Fi system. So one of the first question was that which is the best yuga? And the second question was out of men and women, who is better? And the third question was, out of the 4 varnas, which is the varna. They were first one. They went to Vyasdev. Sorry. Okay. Hare Krishna, can you hear me now better?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So the question was, who is the best out of all the yugas? Which is the best yuga? And the first question was, can somebody tell me of all the yugas, which is the best yuga? We already answered that question. It is none other than Kali Yuga. Exactly. It is Kali Yuga, which is the most wonderful yuga. Why? Because what we do for thousands of years in Satya Yuga, we get the merit of it by doing it for hundreds of years in Treta Yuga. And what we do for hundreds of years in Treta Yuga, we get the benefit of it in 1 year in Dwapara Yuga. And whatever we do for 1 year in Dwapara, we get the merit of it in Kali Yuga, in 1 day. So this is considered as one of the greatest benefits. It's considered as one of the greatest benefits because in Kali Yuga, whatever we do it in 1 day, we get the same merits. So this is the answer. So they went to Vyasdev, and Vyasdev at that time was taking bath. And when he saw the sages standing on the bank of the river, this comes in Vishnu Puran, they're standing on the banks of the rivers, Vyasdev saw and he understood that they have these 3 questions. So he took the first dip and came out and said, Kali Yuge Sadhuhu. He answered the first question which was there in their minds, that of all the yugas, the best yuga is Kali Yuga. And they were waiting for Vyasdev to take the second dip. And when he took the second dip mentioned that Yoshitaha Sadhuhu. Between the men and the women are considered better. And in the third dip, he said, Shudraha Sadhuhu. The Shudras are also good. So everybody was confused. How is it possible? There are so many Brahminical people and there are so many men who are engaged in worship. So Vyasdev mentioned that it is not the royalty or the capability that one is looking into. What they are looking into is none other than the humility and the simplicity and the bhakti. For women, we have a very good example. I don't know how many of you have gone to Nathdwara, where the Vallabhacharya Sampradaya, they worship Nathdwara Srinathji. In fact, we have a very beautiful Srinathji deity in Radha Gopinath in ISKCON, installed by His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. Very beautiful Srinathji deities are there in the Radha Gopinath Mandir in Chowpatty, Mumbai. So Nathdwara, Srinathji, Krishna is a small boy lifting Govardhan, very beautiful, attractive deity. And everybody goes and stands outside the door. And Vallabhacharya has written very wonderful songs for waking up the Lord. And the Lord says, I don't want to wake up. Then they somehow manage to convince the Lord to wake up. The Lord says, okay, if I wake up, then first you give me laddu. Then Krishna asks for laddu. Then he asks for badshah. Then he asks for heavy sweets. He asks all these things. They provide all that. Then he says, okay, fine, I'll give for some time, I'll give darshan. And after darshan, I'll go back to sleep. So there are very pockets of time in Nathdwara for Srinathji, where you have to actually go and take darshan. So once when we went to Srinathji, there were a lot of Vedic Pandits from the southern part of India had come down to take darshan. They were great Pandits, Ubay Vedantis. That means they are expert in the Tamil grammar as well as in the Sanskrit grammar. They are dually very, very good in reciting scriptures in both the languages. So when they had come down, they naturally thought that because of their stature in their spiritual life, they would be given this opportunity to take darshan first. So they all went together. Along with them came a big yatra of women and others who were normal folks, who were just audience, who used to sit in their classes and listen on the Vedic scriptures. So when they came, just before entering the altar, there was a guard, there was a pujari, there was a pandit who said, women to come ahead. Then this southern Vedic scholar, he said, I'm a Vedic Pandita. I give so many lectures. They are my followers. So maybe they can come first. They can come later. But I will take the darshan first. He said, you are a man or a woman? So he said, can't you look? I am a man. He said, then you go behind. Women will get first darshan. So this is the tradition even followed today in Nathdwara. Why? Because of the simplicity of heart, because of their indulgence in bhakti, which comes naturally to them. So Vyasdev actually mentioned Yoshitah sadhu. So they are naturally inclined. So even if you look at in the southern system, at least in the household when I was growing up, seeing my mother and father, it was always, they were in the Sri Sampradaya, so it was always very clear. So once I asked my father while he did his Shaligram worship, I used to ask him, why are you not washing the vessels? And he gave me a big Sanskrit shloka talking about what is Tri Dharma and what is Purusha Dharma. So he mentioned the activities that a woman should do and an activities that a man should do. And I asked, what is it? He said, all the good things, where things should not go wrong, the Lord has entrusted that capability to a woman. And I was surprised. I asked, what are those? He said, washing the spiritual vessels for the Shaligram worship, the deity paraphernalia, that is entrusted to women. Picking up good flowers for the Lord's worship, that is entrusted to them. Keeping good fragrances, sandalwood pulps, etc. This is also given to women. Dhupa, Deepa, vessels to be kept clean, and all these are given to women. I said, oh, this is gross injustice. You are putting a lot of work to the woman and you are not doing anything. What is you are supposed to do? He said, we are supposed to offer mantras. That is the job of the Karyakarta, the one who is doing the worship. And he said, the Lord made this delineation of cooking also to the women. This does not mean that the men should not learn both the activities. The men should also learn both the activities. But this is given to the women because the Lord says, if my fragrance goes bad, I have to be with it throughout the day. So a woman knows the right fragrances, the right way. The women folk keep the house clean. The grihini is supposed to be naturally keeping the house clean. She is naturally inclined to cook. So these activities are there. Of course, nowadays education and system, things are changing, but this is natural. This is not an awkward position for the women folk. This is a natural position. And by doing that, they achieve to do the right devotional service unto their lordships. And hence, this was mentioned that Yoshitah sadhu. Of the men and women, the women are considered superior because of their simplicity. This is not of royalty. So it's very unnatural today that in the garb of movements, people are trying to knock and say, I want to do that activity. That's because either they are oppressed or suppressed. But it is very unnatural because they have been given the best of the activities. They don't need to look at anything else. That itself can give them Krishna consciousness in its full element. But Srila Prabhupada even took it even further. He encouraged his disciples, fellow disciples, to learn all activities of devotion. And that is even great. And the third, Vyasdev also mentioned that if you look at the various different aspects in Purusha Sukta, it is mentioned that the Brahmanas came from the head, the Kshatriyas came from the shoulders, the Vaishyas came from the thigh, and the Shudras came from the lotus feet of the Lord. So when we go to the temple and we pray that we want to surrender, we don't surrender onto somebody's head. We don't surrender onto somebody's shoulder. We don't surrender into somebody's thigh. Where do we surrender? We surrender unto the lotus feet. And by catching hold of the lotus feet, we say that we are taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. And from that lotus feet comes the fourth Varna, which is Shudra. And from that lotus feet comes Mother Ganges. So Vyasdev also mentioned that they are also considered great. They come from the lotus feet. So it is incorrect. Many of us do believe that it is incorrect to believe that by doing certain activities, we gain back home, back to Godhead faster. For example, once there were two devotees discussing and they were mentioning about how by doing certain activities, they get Vaikuntha. It is not that the Lord has distinguished that if you do these activities, Brahmanical activities and Kshatriya activities, you get a higher, difficult Vaikuntha. And for all others who do easy activities, you get an easy Vaikuntha. There is no difficult Vaikuntha, there is no easy Vaikuntha, there is no difficult Golok Vrindavan, there is no easy Golok Vrindavan. There's only one Golok Vrindavan. There is many Vaikunthas. So these Vaikunthas are accessible for everyone. So suppose in this audience, I mentioned that if this was a live class and after the class, there was prasadam, and I say all those who are capable should take the stairs, go 4 floors down, then catch the lift, go to the next building, then catch 6 floors up, press the button, and in the 6th floor, there is prasadam hall. There you will get the prasadam. And I say those who are not capable, they can just come here, take a left, right next to me, prasadam is kept, they can take it. Can you tell me, my dear devotees, how many would choose the second option and how many would choose the first option? Those who are capable should take 6 floors down by stairs, go to the next building, go to the lift, press the button, 6 floors up, they should go to the prasadam hall and take prasadam. It is a gulab jamun. And those who are not capable, they can just walk up to the stage, on towards my left, the bucket of gulab jamun is kept, they can take prasadam too. Which one will be opted?
Everyone will take easy one.
Even if somebody is capable, they will become incapable. They will say, oh, I belong to the incapable. Because why? Because it is easy. It is easy to just walk up to the stage and take it. So similarly, right? Similarly, that is what the Lord is telling. He has given the most easiest way for us. And what is the easiest way for us in the Kali Yuga? Is to do Nam Sankirtan. We are in the group who has to just come straight and take left and take the Gulab Jamun. In one day, we are getting the merit what we get in thousands of years. That is the power of holy name. Once I was hearing His Holiness Kadam Kanan Swami Maharaj giving a very beautiful lecture in Mayapur. And he was mentioning how this holy name transforms the heart. And he had come down from Germany or some location to Mayapur, and he had witnessed this transformation live, and he was mentioning. Very beautiful example. I do not know how many of you devotees know, there is a game, a video game, which is very popular in the Western world and also all throughout the world. It is called as Grand Theft Auto. This is a very popular criminal game, a mafia criminal kind of a game where the protagonist, the person who is playing this video game, is a criminal and he's supposed to steal, he's supposed to murder, he's supposed to kill. And that is how the game progresses. Nowadays, the games are not simple. The games are very complex in nature. One is supposed to steal, one is supposed to drink, break all the 4 regulative principles. So in this game, this Grand Theft Auto, a very realistic world is created, and this world is very resembling a city which is called as Vice City. It's full of vices, something that we should not go to, but children play that today. Any which way, in this city, and there are virtual people which is resembling the real life. So here in this city, one is supposed to drive a car and he's supposed to go from one place to another. And on the streets, in the game, they have put the Hare Krishnas doing Sankirtan. Can you believe this? Because they see that in New York, Detroit, and all these places. So they have put these Hare Krishnas in Sankirtan with orange robes. 6 of them go saying Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And they show them going in a line, not hurting anybody. They are just chanting Hare Krishna and going because they have seen that in real life. But look at the envious mind of the game developers. What they have hidden is that if this person who is driving the car in the game, he takes the car and runs over the devotees. That is literally he takes the car and mows down the devotees, runs over the devotees, all 6 of them together, then they get bonus points. And what flashes on the screen when they get bonus points, you will not believe, my dear devotees, when the person rides the car over the devotees and virtually kills the devotees, a big bold letter comes on the screen called as Gauranga, G-O-U-R-A-N-G-A, Gauranga. And in the game, they have mentioned that this Gauranga is the leader of the clan of Hare Krishnas, and that is how the game and the story goes. So this was told by Kadam Kanan Maharaj. So he was in Germany airport and they were all chanting together. And then suddenly they said, Gauranga. And this young boy who was in the German airport, he came running towards Kadam Kanan Maharaj. He had this hippie hairstyle, mohawk haircut, and he had got different colors on his hair. And he came and he fist bumped Kadam Kanan Swami Maharaj and said, you play the game too? I also love to play the game. And Kadam Kanan Maharaj was completely looking aghast. What is he talking about? He said, you like to mow down and say Gauranga? I also like to. How many times have you played the game? And Kadam Kanan Maharaj had no clue what he's talking about. And here he was talking about Gauranga. And he asked, what are you interested in? And this person, this boy mentioned, who was in his teens, he said, I'm interested in gaming. Look, I game. And this is how I came to know about Gauranga. And I always, when I mow down, I also say loud, Gauranga, Gauranga, Gauranga. Maharaj asked, do you know who is Gauranga? He said, yes, these people who are walking on the virtual game and whom I mow down every day, they are Gauranga. He said, yeah, very nice. But then take this book, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. So he was so interested in the game to know who Gauranga is. He thought that this book is an additional mention of the game's previous history. He started reading the Teachings of Lord Chaitanya. And what happened? A couple of years later, they found him in the local Hare Krishna temple, sitting and chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and saying Gauranga, now understanding that Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Personality of God. This is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Even by sarcastically mentioning or even by whimsically taking the name, one gets the association of the devotees. And by getting the association of the devotees, one takes the name of the holy name and one gets the association of the holy name. Namani kritva abhivadana yadaste, says Purusha Sutta. All the gunas, all the wonderful qualities of the Lord are there in his holy name. Just by reciting the holy name, just by taking the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just by reciting once, Gauranga, everything is given to the spirit soul. And by associate. How? It is just like a cave. Might be for 1,000 years, it might be dark, very dark. So I'll ask this question to Raj Prabhu. Raj Prabhu, if a cave is dark for 1,000 years, for how long you have to light a lamp for it to be illuminated?
Very short time, Prabhu.
How much? What is the time, Prabhu? 10 years?
Lava Matra, Prabhu.
Lava Matra. Very correct. Why it is not 10 years? Nobody says so. Because even if it is 1,000 years, the cave is dark. When you strike the first matchstick, it completely destroys the darkness. That is what holy name does. Even we are under 1,000 years of darkness and in ignorance, but one time we take the holy name, we are no longer in the awkward position of being in darkness. We turn our other cheek towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We do so. We don't remember everything in the material world. Krishna reminds us of every single thing. Krishna remembers. Yeah. Just like one drop of moisture falls into the ocean, and that one drop of moisture, a water droplet, is captured by the oyster, and it kind of keeps that water droplet for years and years inside it, so that many years later, when the people collect the oyster and they break it open, they find a beautiful natural pearl. That's how attentive we have to take to the holy name. It can be one name, like when you go for Japa retreats under the guidance of His Holiness Sachidananda Swami Maharaj or His Grace Burijan Prabhu. They keep insisting on this point. Just hear it once. Just say it loud. You hear it once. Even if you hear it once, your life is glorious. That's the conviction that even once we hear the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Even if we hear it once, one whole name, and we treasure it, we take care of it, what we get is a beautiful pearl of Krishna prema. And so this is what is the goal of life, is to turn ourselves from illusion and to take the holy name and be under the shelter of devotees. Take sadhu sangha and always be humble and always be simple and always be enthusiastic to perform devotional service. And this is what is mentioned in all the scriptures. So here in the Ajamila's pastime as well, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning easy way to liberation is to start associating with devotees or to be interested in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. So this is the essence. And in the next verses, the 2 verses, it will be mentioned how that should be performed. So today is the premise, or today is the what. The next 2 verses, the speaker would mention about how the process is to be done, to wake up early in the morning, to be regulative in the sadhana. All those are mentioned in the next couple of verses. So today, we have heard about this many times in the past, but nevertheless, we have to understand what we have got is beyond our sphere of imagination. The luck that we have, it's just a stroke of luck that Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagya Janji Guru Krishna Prasad Pai Bhakti Lata Beach, that we have got the seed of bhakti in our hearts. Let us take it seriously and let us nurture it. And we all hope that one day we would see Shyam Sundar in the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, and we would say, I am yours. I am the servant of the servant, the servant of Srimati Radharani. Yadastas kalitam kinchit vidvam satpurayam tutat yadatas saushvam kinchit tadguroreva menai. Thank you very much, my dear devotees. Thank you for the patient listening. I apologize for the small technical faults while giving the lecture. I take that responsibility. If there are any questions, comments, more than happy to talk about them. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. What a beautiful class, Prabhuji. A very instructional class. Yeah, it was so beautiful, Prabhu. If anybody have any questions or realizations, please unmute yourself and go. Vinita Gandharvika Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanvat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very, very beautiful class, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So I have this question. I don't know if question is wrong. Please correct me. So it is said that liberation is given to everyone, but then love of Krishna is given to only devotees. Lord is very happy to give liberation, but not the love of Krishna. But then when terms of liberation is said that who gets liberation, who has completely surrendered to Krishna. So how do I understand? See, liberation, who is getting liberation is also, they are completely surrendered. They don't have any material desires. That's what everybody were quoting and you were telling, that's right. So then now how do I understand what is the difference between who is getting liberation and who is getting love of Krishna? And Srila Prabhupada also said that we don't desire for liberation. We are not here for liberation. So how do we understand all these things? I'm a little confused.
So there are two, it's a very nice question, Mataji. So there are two paradigms to it. The first paradigm is liberation is guaranteed for everyone. That means even if somebody is an atheist, right? For him also, if he turns the other cheek, liberation is guaranteed. Even for the person who is doing Vishnu Sahasranam, chanting mantras, doing penances, liberation is guaranteed. So now people in Vaikuntha will say, hey, we have done so much. You are just bringing everybody from one place to another, and you are just bringing all the people into Vaikuntha. So there has to be some category of demarcation. So the Lord says, one who is interested in my name, form, qualities, one who is interested to listen to my glories, that is the only condition for attaining liberation, and one is surrender. So the first category of people whom we are talking about is the general masses. Those who are interested and those who surrender, they get liberated, and those who get liberated. Now in this category also, there are people with a desire. Why are they getting liberated, or why they want liberation? They want liberation to get out of this material world and its sufferings. That is the prime goal, right? The intent or the desire is that my suffering should stop. Hence, Krishna, please liberate. Take me out of this material world because my suffering has to stop. This has nothing to do with devotional service. This is to say, please stop my suffering, give me liberation. I have heard that liberation gives me superior happiness. Right? So this is good, but this is on a one level. The higher level is liberate me, or you keep me here. Like the Alvar mentioned, Tondaradipudi Alvar, he mentioned. He says, please don't give me heaven. Please don't give me Indra's post. Please don't give me any other post. I am just happy chanting your holy name. Oh Ranganath, I am just happy chanting your. Right? So that is a higher level. That because I want to render service unto you. And those who want to render service personally unto the gopis of Vrindavan, unto the manjaris of Vrindavan, which is our sampradaya, that's intense desire is not for one. That is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentioned, right? You roughly embrace me or you don't see me, whatever you do, that is at the highest level. So the gradations is of desire. The lowest will also get liberation. The lowest desire, which is, I am suffering, take me out of suffering. That also will get liberation. But as the desire increases, I want to serve Krishna more and more and more and more and more. The highest one gets love of God. So that is why it is mentioned that liberation, maybe everybody will get, those who have the intent. But love of God is very, very, very rare. It's a very matured fruit of the bhakti tree. It's not easily available. It's not a low-hanging fruit. It's very mature. It's very intense. It's extremely sweet. Anandam buddhivat. So that is why. So liberation is there for all. Even an atheist gets the minute he turns. But having to do devotional service, that's higher. Having more desire. So what is the difference? The difference is the scale of intensity or laulyam or desire. The greed to achieve love of God. Hope that answers the question.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Dhanashree, yes. Please unmute yourself and go ahead, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, as usual, most wonderful lecture. Your example of the pearl almost got tears to my eyes. I was really touched with that example. Now, my question is, you said that from all the yugas, the Kali Yuga is the best because chanting is the easiest, right? Okay. So if Maya, which has a nature to overpower you at all given times, is making an effort to pull you down from wherever you are, whatever level of bhakti you are doing, then how does it become easy? I mean, it is quite taxing even at that time to stay in bhakti, to stay steadfast at the lotus feet of Krishna. So how do we evade that? Just by chanting, you'll be like chanting for 2 hours or 3 hours, whatever. But what about the rest of the 8 or 9 hours that you are engaged in so many other jobs?
Yeah. So it's a good question, Mataji. So the first thing is Maya is there in all the yugas. We saw in Vishwamitra also, Menaka, Urvashi, Ramba, everybody came.
Yes.
And we also see Durvasa getting wrongly agitated because of being under illusion. So there are Maya's pralobhan, or you say it as Maya's effects on all the yuga, influence in all the yugas. In Kali Yuga, we find it more prominent because every second, because our lifetime is short, we find the intensity higher. If Maya's influence is spread over 60,000 years, we might find it sporadic. So the easiest way is given as an answer in this verse itself. And what is that it is mentioned? It is mentioned that be in the association of devotees. So in the association of devotees, when we chant Hare Krishna, 1-2 hours maximum we can chant. But when we come with Bhakti Sangha Japa group, when we come with devotees and we chant together, if we are chanting 1 round, we are chanting 2 rounds, we chant with devotees. Then what happens? Whenever Maya attacks us with 2 people, 3 people along with us, it becomes very difficult for Maya to act. Community, togetherness of devotees protects us from Maya's attacks. Right? So that's why they say, what is offense? When you go off the fence of devotees is offense. So when we are in the fence of devotees and together with devotees when we perform, we do not fall under Maya. Because even when we are performing with devotees, we mention something incorrectly. The third devotee would say, let's stop this and let's talk about Krishna. So when we are with devotees, this propensity of Maya attacking us reduces. So we should find time. We should find time that we are alone, and we should strike that out from our lives. If we can substitute our alone time with at least one devotee, always, and this is everybody would have seen in their life. An empty house, an empty mind is devil's workshop.
Yeah.
So if we actually substitute our alone time with devotees, then we ensure that we are within the boundaries of Krishna consciousness, and Maya doesn't affect us. This is the essence of it. We should be with devotees. We should be with the community of devotees.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prahlananand Prabhuji, please go ahead, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Mataji, for allowing me to speak. And my Dandavat Pranam to Haridas Varya Prabhu. As always, your name is so appropriate. Haridas Thakur said that, if someone say haram, some Muslims say haram, even they will get liberated what to say of. You gave the example of Gauranga. This is so good. Another thing I liked, I have no question, I'm just, appreciating.
Sure,
so about the small books you are saying like that, that's so good. It's a real diamond. And as soon as I had realized this, what I do is to carry one small book in my pocket whenever I step out of my house. Right? And I pray to Prahlad Maharaj slok. We say, Naivodvijay Parduratya Vaitaranya Sadviryaga and Mahamruta Magna Chitta. I want to help me so that I remain in this frame of mind and give some XYZ, some book like that. Also, Prahlad Maharaj says, Prayana Dev Munaya Swamukti Kama Maunam Charanti Vijanana Parartha Nistha. So, we are all interested in our own liberation. Okay. And Bhagavan Krishna says that Tasman Manusya Kastin Priyakruta. Why not let our liberation and everything, decide by Lord Krishna's will, Prabhupada, mercy, or whoever. But let me go out and deliver one person, give him Harinam. Then liberation, love of Lord, everything, I leave it to Lord Krishna. Bhagavan Krishna is so merciful that if we do little work for him, just like Lord Rama, delivered a small squirrel, just putting some dust into that, breed. So this is so good. And what you have said, emphasized about sadhu sang, bhakta sang, chanting, these are all diamonds of our satsang. So I'm so grateful that you highlighted all this point. It has solidified my conviction of what I'm doing as, as service to Sri Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Haribol.
Thank you, Prabhu, for those wonderful verses. I just remember my Guru Maharaj in his latest diary of the traveling entry. He mentions, I think in the volume number 13, where he mentions that the greatest joy, and then this is at a different level, the greatest joy is to see the holy name being given to people who have never heard it before. Yeah. That's the greatest joy. And if you see Bhagavad Gita, Krishna gave it to Arjuna. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam dealing about Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita is talking about how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave it to everyone. But then Prabhupada Leelamrit is talking about how he flooded that entire thing, about glories about devotees and how they are giving it to the entire world. And the joy that we see to give it to one person and that changing their lives is the most blissful. Just if that is blissful, how much will be Prabhupada pleased? How much would be the Parampara pleased? How much would Krishna be pleased?
Very well. Very well.
Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I see two more hands.
Samit Prabhuji, please go ahead, Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry to take your time, Prabhuji. Actually, I had the question that I've heard a lot of Prabhujis that they tell that you can only go to Golok Dham Vrindavan to Krishna when you have Guru Kripa and devotee association. But if someone have devotee association and someone chants Mahamantra regularly or perform deity worship, but then how do we get Guru Kripa? Can it be only possible when we take Diksha, or is it possible without that too?
So the formalized process, Samir Prabhu, is the formalized process is when we I'm getting a little feedback. So the formalized process is, Prabhu, when we get the Diksha and we accept a Guru. And that process, how it enables us is that it helps us to get into the mood and connect us into the parampara, right? So it's a closely guarded, consider this like a closely guarded wealth within the parampara. But it comes only to those who are in the family, right? So this wealth, if it belongs to your father, and that wealth has to come to you, you have to be part of the family, right? So similarly, the spiritual master is considered as the spiritual father. And Krishna is Aham Bija Parampita, and he is the supreme seed-giving father. So this is like a succession of family. This is the Sampradaya. So Diksha formally initiates us into the Sampradaya, gives us a guru, and by his blessings, we also understand and develop the mood to go and do what? We should understand what are we supposed to do in Goloka. So we know the destination, we know the means, but what is our role? That will be realized in the association of devotees who will help us to be on the path, and the Guru Kripa will reveal our perfect role that we are supposed to do. So that's what devotees are saying. The Guru will tell us the activity that we are supposed to perform. The devotee association would keep us in the track to reach the destination, which is Guru. And the formal process of that is Diksha, is accepting the spiritual master and getting connected to this family. Does that answer the question, Prabhu?
Thank you so much. Thank you for your answer. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you so much for wonderful answers, Prabhu. Does anybody have any questions? Prabhuji, if nobody have, just I have one question, Prabhu. So,
Yeah,
Prabhuji,
sure,
always to be in devotee association is not possible. No, Prabhuji, when we are outside with devotees, we'll be so happy and we'll be in that consciousness. But once we come home and we close the door, our mindset will be changing. Prabhu, how do we handle such scenarios, Prabhuji?
It's a very good question, Mataji. I'll tell you practically how I try to do this, and many devotees have done it. Is by Shravana. The holy name and the pastimes of the Lord are so wonderful. And if we keep hearing them, reading and hearing, these work at times in our passive consciousness also. So when we are with devotees, fine, we are active, our physical consciousness, everything is there. But what we read and what we hear, how many hours we hear, and when we hear, like when we are traveling, we hear lectures. Through Bhakti Sangha Japa group, we hear lectures. When you actually hear more and more and more and more, it enters into your consciousness. That even when our mind wants to do something wrong, those things that we have heard in the lecture will pop up in our mind. And it's up to us whether we press the remote of mute or we increase the volume. If we keep pressing mute, then the voice will go down. Paramatma helps. Paramatma helps in a very, very nice way. So my practical suggestion is, whenever we are alone in the house, when we close the doors, put Prabhupada lectures, put Guru Maharaj lectures. So much of content is there. We should just keep hearing lectures. And of pastimes especially, it mellows the heart. And when it mellows the heart, then Maya can understand. It will not get attracted. Or we can pick up a book and read. Sometimes people feel sleepy when they read quite a lot, but then reading has got its own benefits. When somebody mixes these two things, constantly hears constantly has a reading habit, you'll find that they'll be always blissful. They'll always have their ways out.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Jyoti Mataji, please go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dandam Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
I am afraid that my network is low here. My question goes here, like, could you please share how you balance reading or chanting and the services? How you have cultivated the balance, and what is the strategy that you follow per day, means per day activity for the devotional? So could you please share that? Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. I can share what is fine. This is definitely not the best, and I know that there are many other devotees here who can add to this. They are seniors to me. However, I would say that morning chanting is the most effective. Of course, I also struggle in my morning chanting, but then morning chanting, the days we perform morning chanting, it's the most wonderful. It sets the stage for us to give time for hearing and reading. So the way I do is try to finish my rounds in the morning, maximum rounds in the morning. And then the evening and the rest of the day, I keep reading or hearing to lectures, hearing pastimes. My favorite books are Srimad Bhagavatam, Valmiki Ramayana, etc., which I keep reading and I pick up. And when you hear, and one of the ways which increases the reading capability is when you hear, like say example, His Holiness Vadanath Swami Maharaj is speaking a lecture, and you hear a shloka which is being quoted. You pause the video there, take your mobile phone, put that verse and read the context of that verse. And then once you're read enough, then go back and play the video again. So what happens is you get the mood of that verse, why it is being quoted. You have done your reading quotient and you have heard it enough. So that kind of an exercise is what I do. That helps me to go a little bit more deeper into the verses and try to understand what's the context, what are the different meanings, when it is used. And also I try to keep notes, like I always have my notebook. I keep writing notes. My wife hates it that I keep writing so many pages in the house, but that's how I kind of keep myself afloat with scriptures. So my suggestion is finish your rounds in the morning. Whatever are your prescribed rounds you're chanting as on day to day, gives you time for the rest of the day to either hear or to read. And even in reading, there is a methodological way of reading. Srila Prabhupada's books first, small books first, and his Grace Vaishnavangri Sevak Prabhu, I used to serve with him in Kargar temple, very, very instrumental. He used to give a very nice method. When you open up a book, write down the date of when you have started that. And when you finish it, you write down the date and sign it, that you have done, you have read it. So that gives you a mental satisfaction and achievement that you have read this book. Go to the next. Have a plan. If we do not have a plan, at the start of the year, how many books we are going to complete, how many lectures we are going to listen to, our Krishna consciousness is not on track. So plan your day, plan your year, plan your service. And he used to ask me this question, okay, what are you going to do next lifetime? I said, next lifetime? You have to plan for your next lifetime, because we're coming back to serve, given this opportunity. So bhakti doesn't end here. So plan. So morning chanting, rest of the day, whatever is suitable as per your lifestyle, plan your reading and plan your listening. Hope that helps.
The follow-up question is, what is the minimum association one has to follow or one should target for a day who is not attending or going to the lecture temple regularly and not having a lot of non-devotees in the family? Then how much is the minimum association, or what is the association thought process that we should cultivate in the day-to-day life? Will you please answer me?
One should have confidential friends, one should have seniors, and one can have juniors, that's fine, but one should expose or one should know their friends. They should talk to who are devotees, whom they can share their heart and feel confidential that they will not reveal it to others, and they can share on a day-to-day basis. It can be a phone call, it can be just talking to a devotee, telling the problems, or it can be just to talk to each other and discuss about pastimes. It can be forums like these when all devotees are there coming and taking part in the programs. It can be that. So these are all considered as association. If none of that is available, reading Srila Prabhupada's books is also considered as associating with Srila Prabhupada, associating with the Parampara. That is also association. Formally, there is no time or there is no number of hours that one can subscribe. The maximum you can associate with devotees, that is the best. But we all have our limitations, so we should see how we can increase the time of association. So you should have good friends, Mataji, who are like in the same boat, like you are, picking up Krishna consciousness, chanting up, and trying to gain more insights into Krishna consciousness. You should have like-minded friends whom with you can share and get inspired. And you should have seniors who can guide and help you out and instruct to say this is how you can go ahead. So these two are the physical ways of association. And when you are not having these two, you can pick up the books and associate with Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You have cleared my doubt very well. I'm really grateful to you. But how you segregate the reading section means if we have to give some information about the chanting to a particular devotee, then we have to extract the chanting from the whole notes. That is not possible. So how you do that? Like how you differentiate or make the sections of the chanting and the another section for the Maya if we have to give some information about the Maya to someone. So how you do that during the reading, or if because the lecture is quite discrete and the examples are quite discrete. So how you do that? I just want to know the strategy.
I have not figured out a way, very frankly speaking. But what I use is I use this OneNote on my digital screen where I can create infinite number of pages. So I group them as per categories. But we don't need to even do that, because if you go to Vani quotes of Srila Prabhupada, it's all categorized and helps you to give that. Frankly, it's impossible to do it. If you're trying to be very organized to have notes per topic, because we have unlimited topics, it's very, very difficult to categorize them and put it into different buckets. It's all done by devotees. It's in Veda base. So please use them. Don't recreate the wheel. But for personal notes, you can create, okay, Maya, whatever things I heard about Maya and how we can overcome Maya, create a page. And when you keep hearing over the years, post all the content of Maya in one. And then what you find out is, how do you search within that? Because after a few years in Krishna consciousness, the quotes on Maya will be 200 in nature. And then you want to find a software where you have to find out of those 200 quotes, which are the quotes I should use. So this is
exactly
a
that
problem
is
which I have not solved. I know, Mataji, I know that's a problem of all devotees. So what we do is we memorize them and we use them in our daily life. And then we get our favorite shlokas, favorite, like Prahlad who mentioned very quickly those two shlokas. It's very close to his heart because he practices that every day. And by doing that is what is the best note taking. The note is just on the paper, but when we put it into practice, that's the best note because it's our lifestyle. So the easiest way is to put it into the lifestyle. If not, it's a theoretical exercise as of now, but it's nevertheless good to do that.
Okay, Prabhuji, I'll do it. Please accept my humble obeisances and bless all of us. Thank you so much.
I'm incapable to bless Mataji, but all the senior Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis are blessing. Hare Krishna. There's Lalita and Dinabandhu Prabhu as well with their hand. Go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisance. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I consider your association invaluable. I wanted to say to you that what you said today about the fence of devotees being inside with the devotees was very powerful, that the outside is a fence territory and to stay with devotees. And in relation to just a minute back when you were talking about having like-minded friends, my closest friend is Pashupati and Chadaratna Prabhu. And recently, Pashupati and we have a very deep relationship and we reflect on everything. She tries always to tell me something very Krishna conscious whenever we're on the phone. And she's told me this twice. This happens in old age, but that she told me that His Holiness Indradyumna Maharaj did go, I guess, to Europe to engage. They didn't know if they would go because of the scenario with COVID, whatever, but they did. But they had a much reduced amount of devotees helping. And despite that, thousands came. And she said he was preaching to some couple and there was someone waiting to talk to him. And when he finished, it was one of the crew members. He said, 25 years ago, I was in the arms of my mother and you said the holy name into my ear and now I'm on the crew. So that was very powerful. And I just wanted to say how glorious your beloved spiritual master is. And thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for making me remember my spiritual master. This was in his diary entry, which came out lately. And thank you for recounting that. All glories to Guru Maharaj.
Thank you, Prabhu. Do you have some time, Prabhu?
Yes, I do have time. I see.
Yeah, go ahead, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you very much for allowing again. Prabhuji, I just wanted to add what you said about, Jyoti Mataji's answering. For me, practically what I do is I have scheduled my time during the morning. As soon as I wake up, I have a schedule what to do, offering prayers to Guru Maharaj and like that. And then when I'm saving, I have a set of slokas which I have to remember that time. When I'm showering, I have got a set of slokas to like that. So that's how, even if I'm distracted, I'm speaking on those slokas, and the vibration itself is so spiritual, So that's how we can keep in touch like that. I'm retired now, so I could do that, but still it is it is a helpful tool in keeping in touch with Shastra and doing like that. So that's what I wanted to add that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for a wonderful question and answer session, Prabhu. Does anybody want to ask any more questions for Prabhuji?
I think that those are the questions, Mataji.
Okay, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving your valuable time and association to us this morning, and making us realize how important the chanting is, Prabhuji, in this Kali Yuga. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, and we look forward for your association again and again in Prabhu. Let us pray obeisances to Prabhuji and all the devotees. Vancha
Kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubheva cha patinaam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Haridas Varya Prabhu ji ki jai. To all devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu,
Thank you
Prabhuji,
for the
last
beautiful
question,
class.
Prabhu. Prabhuji, you said you have WhatsApp group that to get notification of your classes. Prabhuji, can you please give us that number, your number, Prabhuji?
I don't have a WhatsApp group. I am not a great speaker that I have a WhatsApp group. I have a YouTube channel. I can definitely share that, Mataji.
Sure,
but I don't find time to upload videos also, very honestly. So, and please bless me that I can speak more. That's all. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Prabhu, you bless us, Prabhu, please. Krishna.
Just let us know if you need any help in uploading those classes. We can help you, Prabhuji.
Haribol.
Oh, Jai. No, I should do my job. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone for joining today's class. We'll meet tomorrow for Srimad Bhagavatam.